So much for speaking to me. This is an action-packed film. So thank you for that and everything that you've done to make this so exciting. This was really interesting because for me, it seems that this is a character, Clay, is someone who's prepared to fight anyone at any moment. So for that, how exactly do you prepare a scene and prepare what fight sequences would be best for each character?
Well, to have a very physical and an athlete like Jason Statham himself is makes our life a little easier. And how we perform. I mean, we read the script and we see what the storyline's all about, and a lot of it is like, hey, you hurt our loved ones. What happens when you hurt our loved ones? We get angry. We want revenge, and so Jason's character does it all, and it makes us feel happy that we have a superhero like that, but also it gives us the storyline, also tells us a story about what's going on in the world with these scammers and stuff like that. So, to be victimized like that, you would understand it even more,
Mhm.
and so how we create those things, we as we break down each fight, we collaborate with the director and the fight coordinator, and we put things together and we shoot previs, and from there we get Jason's opinion, we get David, our director's opinion, and we just make it all happen for make that fight sequence something that we love to see in front of on the big screen.
Now, what's interesting, this is not a big guns blazing type of movie. A lot of hand-to-hand combat, use of the environment. So can you talk about how using that environment really informs how that fight scene is going to go? Do you work out with the props of who's going to be there before everything is really gonna
Well, that's a good
plan?
question, Dana. That's a good question, Dana. When we create a fight, we decide what is the location where all this action is happening. So,
Mhm.
like in the barn fight, what would be in the barn? A shovel, a pick, whatever. What is these goons coming in with? Or thugs? Are they coming in with what big weapons, small weapons? So we try to figure out a fight sequence and figure out what weapons we could use to
Mhm.
make these fights happen. And so we wind up talking to props and armor, and we decided, hey, can you make us some rubbers on these, rubber guns, rubber weapons, and we rehearse with those, and then sometimes we shoot with them, but we also then involve, the real weapons that we, so because when you get a close up, you could tell if they're rubber or not. So yeah, so we have to at least know the dance steps and the choreographing of all the fights, and once you know it all, then you get the real weapon and you could play with that also too. But a lot of times we're very safety savvy that we rehearse with rubbers and prop guns and or knives, whatever it is, and then we go from there. So yeah, so a lot of it is depends on the environment and location of each action. So if you see the film, that there's a lot of action happening in different locations, so we have to incorporate all that, so to make it what it is.
Now it seems interesting, like each fight seems to climb above the hive, meaning that each fight is the fighter is better than the next. How do you keep that building momentum, making sure it's not redundant until we get to that final sequence?
Well, I have a partner of mine, Jeremy Moranis, who's a heck of a fight guy, and as we read the script, we know that we want it better in the end. We want that last heroic fight that we could all say, yeah. So we then now start thinking about the atmosphere itself. What can we use? So in the last fight, we use a lot of mirrors, so we were able to see a lot of movements and, with the camera work and everything else. And then choreographing, like, amputee leg, and, yanking a fake leg and stuff like that. These are things, are ideas that we come up with, and then we just try to make it, we just choreograph it and just try to make it in the right spots. And then once we see it all together, it's like, there we go. Job well accomplished.
Was there any planning of which character would kind of get which fighting sequence in terms, because everything is kind of different, and also the environment?
That's absolutely correct. A lot of times, we would have to find out who's going to play these parts, and then we have to say, listen, this is a lot of action for this person, you know. So are they capable of rehearsing with us? And then we usually have a training facility with the actor or actresses beforehand, and then we already know they're capable of doing in physical movements. And then we decide, hey, do we bring a stunt double in, or do we work with this person and see if it could be done all with that one performer. So we make those decisions as we go along. And a lot of times when there's like little small mini roles, we have stunt performers who also could act, and they could do dialogue. So those are the ones we try to, put in those spots. So you could see there's no cuts. It's them actually performing the action. And for the audience and director like David, seeing that person actually do the physical work, it's movie magic.
For the non-stunt performer roles, was the goal to make them better, or just to meet them at where they're at, to highlight what they already had?
No, we actually make them better. And we make the hits more rougher, more like I want people to go, oh gosh, that must have hurt. So we
Mhm.
work hard, and even though they're in the background and getting kicked, they're as much important as the main. You know what I'm saying? So seeing everybody take a hit, give a hit, or receive a hit, you know, it's a lot of training, and so we definitely make sure that that is not a miss, even though it's the side of the actor. You know what I'm saying? We make sure that it looks like a violent hit or connecting move.
Right.
So
So, oh, sorry. Clay is also kind of a silent assassin. Can you talk about how that training was in order for that character to be believable?
well, I'll tell you what. A lot of these, even from the FBI's to our lead, we read the script, and then we collaborate with props, armor, and everything else, and wardrobe. I mean, wardrobe has a lot to do with it too, because he's fighting.
Mhm.
We need to make sure that we could use what he's wearing, and he could also be able to move around in the wardrobe he has on. So we also get involved with wardrobe. We get as an action performer, we have to get involved with every department to make sure that when we do an action scene, everybody's capable and safe with objects to make it all work together. So it's basically we have to coagulate all the departments, to make it all happen.
So are the fight scenes built around the wardrobe, or is it the other way around?
No, it's basically we find a location. The art department designs with the vision that David's looking at, our director,
Mhm.
and then we could add to it or eliminate, and then we say, hey, it'd be cool if we could do this to this person, but what he's wearing or she's wearing, we need to change it. So we have to be ahead of schedule before
Mm,
she or he is established of what the wardrobes are having, so we can work for us on the day of of the action. So like even like the girl who catches on fire from honey. It was it was a big thing because the wardrobe she had originally was not what I needed, because now fire burns quick, so the material has to be different. Now we have to design different materials and make this certain colors, that David sees and visions with the lighting and stuff like that. So there's a lot of little details that nobody's really they don't know, but it goes into this movie. And so all our department has our professionals, and we put our brains together and we make what you see. Yeah.
wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
you created a fun and exciting movie. So thank you so much for speaking to me.